Hello and welcome. You're watching First Sick here on News9, where we bring to you the morning buzz on the last street. I am Suyash Maheshwari. With me is Amit Ranjan. It's a Monday morning and the markets, they are back in the green. Nifty, as we speak, has reclaimed 22,500 mark. The broader markets, they are at record high. In fact, Nifty's small cap index has climbed above 17,000 for the very first time, and most sectors are also participating on the upside. Now, the key, of course, would be if we can sustain at these levels. Remember, it's a holiday shortened weekend, but event heavy one. US Fed will come out with its policy decision on Thursday. We have the auto sales numbers for the month of April on May 1. PMI data will come out on May 2, and a bunch of earnings from large heavyweights, including Adani Enterprises, Adani Power, Adani Ports, Coal India, Britannia Industries, Titan, to name a few. Before we get into all that, let's look at what we got in terms of a handover from the global markets. A green start for the global markets as well, Amit.
Green absolutely everywhere, and the Wall Street bulls are now confident that the stock rally can resume even without a rate cut. Most US corporate earning readouts are exceeding expectations. Robust global economic growth may offer equities enough support for a record-breaking rally, even if bets on Federal Reserve rate cuts are totally abandoned. Dow Jones closed in the positive at 0.4%, S&P 500 in the positive at 1.02%, Nasdaq in the positive at 2.02%, as much as that. Stock 600 in the positive at 1.11%. Those were the European markets. Coming to the Asian markets, Hang Seng continues to be in the green this morning at 1.34%, Nikkei at 0.81%. Just to mention one, yen, while the Nikkei is up, yen has slid past the $160 against the dollar for the first time since 1990.
Right, and that could be a point of worry. Of course, all eyes will be on what Bank of Japan decides to do next, because yen, again, as you rightly pointed out, is falling against the dollar. But the global cues overall are looking much more positive, and the rally in the US was on the back of the core PCE data that came in line with the expectation. It was neither too hot nor too below estimates. It's pretty much in line with what the market was estimating, and that's why we saw some bit of a pullback in the US markets. Nasdaq, as Amit pointed out, was up 2%, S&P 500 half of that at 1%. But among other global cues that we track, the US 10-year, that has slipped by about 4 basis points since Friday. We are currently at about 4.66% on that. The dollar index actually has picked up by half a percent since the last time we spoke. It's back at 106 odd levels, and Brent crude, it has eased slightly. Remember, on Friday we were inching towards $90 a barrel mark, but we are currently at around 87.5, and that's on Brent crude. Pretty much we are hovering in that range of about 87 to $92 on Brent crude. So unless we break that range on either side, I expect prices to stay in that range also, if there is no escalation as far as tensions in the Middle East are concerned. But back home, again, a strong start to the day of trading. Nifty has reclaimed 22,500. The broader markets, they are doing well, although they are marginally underperforming the headliners. Both indices are at record high. Nifty mid cap is actually above 50,000, moving towards 51,000 level. The small cap index is up 0.3%, has managed to move past 17,000 for the very first time. But India VIX volatility index has picked up, but remember, it's going to be an event heavy week. And again, the big question on everyone's mind is, can we sustain at those levels? And to answer that, let's also bring on board Avni Bhatt, Senior Vice President at JM Financial. Avni, thank you for joining us here on News9. Always a pleasure speaking with you, ma'am. And Nifty on Friday formed a dark cloud cover pattern on the daily price charts, which is a bearish trend reversal pattern. But the sell-off, that was partly due to weak global cues, right? This morning, the cues are much better, and so has been the opening, right? So considering that this recovery in the morning, Avni, would you say that the bullish momentum is still intact? If so, what are the key hurdles that you are tracking on the upside, ma'am?
Good morning, Suyash, and a very good morning to all the viewers. So Nifty did form a dark cloud cover on Friday, And today also, if you look at after the opening price, the market has not been able to sustain much. So technically, I think 22,300 is a major support level. Until and unless 22,300 level is holding on, I think the momentum is still intact. I would say the trend is still intact. The momentum is missing right now. But on the upside, the momentum will pick up only once it crosses 22,600 level. And beyond that, then we have multiple resistances. So if you look at the options data also, I think there are multiple resistances and there are multiple supports. So this clearly indicates, sorry, this clearly indicates that more or less, the volatility will be there for both Nifty and Bank Nifty, but they'll more or less stay in a particular range. The range for Nifty is 22,300 on the downside, and on the upside, once it crosses 22,600, then the range extends up to 22,800. Otherwise, currently it is 22,300 to 22,600. And for Bank Nifty, 48,000 is a crucial, very crucial support level. Bank Nifty is stronger than Nifty, and on the upside, 48,600 is a hurdle area beyond which, if it manages to close, then we will see an attempt to retest the 49,000 level. So broader range for Bank Nifty is 48,000 to 49,000. Markets are going to remain volatile within this range.
All right, that's a view coming in on Nifty and Bank Nifty. And speaking about Bank Nifty, I mean, it's leading this recovery this morning. It's up 0.5%, but the levels that you put out, 48,600, is where we got to in today's session. We have slipped by about 150 points since then, but it's one stock that's driving this rally, and that's ICICI Bank. And ICICI Bank on Saturday reported its Q4 numbers. Now, net interest income, which is the difference between interest earned and interest paid, was ahead of expectations, and so was PAT. But digging a bit deeper, there are a few concerns. Loan growth year on year was the weakest in 11 quarters. Net interest income growth was the weakest in 21 quarters, also on a year on year basis. And net interest margin slipped by about 50 basis points from the previous year and was essentially flat on a sequential basis. But looking at the stock this morning, Avni, up 2%, near record high levels. And, it's one of the top contributor on Nifty. What's your call on ICICI Bank?
See, ICICI Bank on Friday, it formed an inside bar pattern, which means that it did not cross the Thursday's high of 1126. Neither did it break the low of Thursday's low, and that is the reason why now from current levels, once it crosses 1126, which we have seen today, ICICI Bank crossing that level. So if it sustains above 1126, I think the next hurdle area is 1150. The trend is positive, extremely positive for the stock. And any kind of dip, if we see in the stock, I think it's a good stock to accumulate, to add to the portfolio.
Good morning, Avni. Another big major that announced their results last week was HCL Tech. Now, the IT services sector is expected to report muted growth for the quarter gone by, primarily on account of weaker discretionary spend due to challenging global geopolitical issues that are happening. Revenue grew by around over 5%. Net profit was muted, just growing about 0.35% year on year. EBITDA, of course, grew by 1.41%. It was expected to go down as per the analysts. The stock by far has been, along with Persistence, the best performer over the last 1 year. What do you make of HCL Tech and the IT space in the quarter gone by?
As far as HCL Tech is concerned, I think the crucial support area was around 1410 to 1430. And if at all today, if we see some kind of recovery and the stock manages to close above 1410 to 1430, then it will stabilize. But if at all the close is below 1410, then we'll be seeing the stock moving downwards to around 1350. Now, why I'm saying this is because the highest open interest for the May series is somewhere around 1400 to 1410, and that should have been the support level. But if we see the stock sustaining below 1400 levels, then there will be a lot of unwinding by the put writers, and then the stock may head downwards further to around 1350. So as of now, I think any kind of pullback or rally, if we see up to somewhere around 1430, the selling pressure will emerge again. Profit booking will, not profit booking, but yes, unwinding will happen around those levels. And currently the stock looks weak for a level of 1350 on the downside.
Avni, the stock is down almost 6% this morning. Buy on dips time right now?
No, Amit, that's what I just mentioned, that the crucial support level of 1410 has been breached. In case if it sustains below 1410 and even if it closes also below 1410 today, then the stock is heading towards 1350. So supports have been breached. So no point in catching a falling knife. We still have a lot of downside in the stock.
Still a lot of downside, no point catching a falling knife. But Avni, what are your picks for our investors this morning?
So Amit, my first stock will be ITC. ITC has slowly, gradually, without coming under anyone's radar, the stock has moved up quite well. And I think now it has post the block deal that had happened, it had already bottomed out at 400, but it was consolidating in the range of 1420 to 1437, 1440 levels. And now it is in a very good shape to move up. And I think for the May series, it should move up close to its previous all-time highs of around 470. So between 437 to 440, it's a good buy for a target of 465 and 470 on the upside for the May series. And stop loss can be maintained at 425. The second pick would be Bajaj Auto. We're going to see the auto numbers coming up this week, and expectation on the numbers are good for Bajaj Auto. It's a buy between 8900 to 8920 area. Within these 20 points range, one can accumulate the stock. The stop loss can be kept at 8640, and the upside is up to 9350 to 9600. So this is going to be another stock that will move like how Maruti has moved right from 11,500 to 13,000 plus levels. So Bajaj Auto can definitely be kept on radar.
All right, ITC and Bajaj Auto are on the radar of Avni Bhatt for the short term, and ITC this morning is down about 1%, and so is Bajaj Auto. So perhaps good time to make entries in these, in these counters. But ma'am, thank you for giving us time here on News9. Appreciate your time and your thoughts. But with that, let's slip into a short break. On the other side, Gaurang Shah, Senior Vice President at Geojit Financial Services, joins us.
Name a place and there is a marathon.
Running in the snow is a much more tougher thing than running just in the oil.
Everything is very, very different from the plains marathon.
जहाँ से मेरे को लगा था कि it would be a piece of cake, इसके लिए बहुत मेहनत करनी पड़ती है, जैसे दिखता है वैसा होता नहीं है सर.
It is definitely much more tougher.
This and more. Streaming on News9 plus news is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
How do you fulfill that promise? Because ultimately expectations have to be met. If you look at the political landscape, is it really changing for women? And what is the inability of the forces that dead bodies surface, but not the living people?
India's ever-evolving urban landscape is witnessing a new revolution. And this one comes on four wheels.
The affluence has been growing. Cars are becoming more a reflection of what you are.
Nobody's talking about hatchbacks. Now what next? The next is the SUV.
The contribution of SUVs is close to 55-60% of the automobile sales these days.
Is that even manufacturers like to sell SUVs?
So, how did a nation obsessed with fuel economy come to love heavy gas guzzling sports utility vehicles? Let's look at how India fell in love with the SUV.
This and more. Streaming on News9 plus news is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
Golf as a game, it is closest to the game that you call life.
You've got to use your mind. You cannot lose it.
The sharpest person is one who understands his limitations.
खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि खुदा बंदे से पूछे कि तेरी रजा क्या है.
You might have a bad break after a good shot. You might have a good break after a bad shot. But the fact remains, you got to play the ball from where it lies.
Watch Jeev Milkha Singh on Duologue with Paruntas, streaming on News9 Plus.
There's a new video around what deep fake can do.
We had seen a trailer of this a few days back.
Rollers should not be only on the platform.
We'll have to wait and see how those play out.
Hindenburg's report cannot be taken as gospel of truth.
Film and entertainment is definitely one of the levers for any country to build its brand.
We are getting global. I feel that we're just on the takeoff.
More and more films are becoming language agnostic.
Content is a universal language.
There's one audience in the world.
Absolutely. End of the day, we all are like brothers who have mutual respect for each other from a different land.
Watch Allu Arjun on Duologue with Paruntas, streaming on News9 Plus.
Welcome back. You're watching First Stick here on News9. The markets, the recovery was short-lived. We have actually fallen below 22,500 level as we speak. In fact, moving closer to 22,450. Now we are very close to the day's low on Nifty, but I think the key support level for us to track will be around that 22,400 to 420 mark for a couple of reasons. At 22,420 is a 20-day moving average for Nifty, so that again, that also coincides with the low of Friday, so perhaps that could be actually the closing price of Friday. So that is the first support level that we need to track. 22,400 is essential for another reason, because that is a 61.8% retracement level from the from the fall from record high levels of about 22,775 to April low of 21,777. So 22,400, 420 mark I think will be a level for us to defend in today's trade. If index does not manage to defend that, we can look at 22,250. I think that's a bigger support for the index. That's your 40-day exponential moving average. But again, the other pockets of the market, they are looking rather strong. The broader markets, pretty much they are at all-time high levels, but essentially the mid-cap index is flat. The small-cap index is up 0.2%. But I'm looking at Nifty Bank, and that's leading the charge from the front this morning. Nifty Bank has, in fact, opened, it's currently trading about 0.5% higher between that 48,500, 48,600 levels, and as Avni pointed out, 48,600 will be the key level for the index to take out if it is to move on to perhaps 49,000 and much beyond. From that to record high levels. So Bank Nifty will be key to track, and of course we have multiple banks that also came out with the number with their Q4 results in over the weekend. We had ICICI Bank, SBI, RBL, so a bunch, so lots of cues for the markets to react to as far as the banking stocks are concerned. But so far the things are, as far as the banking stocks are concerned, things are looking rather good. The recovery is over there, and remember on Friday actually it was the banking stocks that took the market down. So good to see a laggard turn into a outperformer and reverse the course of the day. but 22,400, I think that's the first key support for us to track for Nifty and the mid cap and the small cap space. Even though the upside has pretty much, the momentum has slowed down, but the going has been rather strong. Both pockets of the market are at record high levels. But joining us on the show now is Gaurang Shah, Senior Vice President at Geojit Financial Services. Good morning, Gaurang. Thank you for giving us time here on News9. And it's a holiday shortened week since on Wednesday the markets will be shut on account of Maharashtra Day. But we have lots of global and domestic news to track. US Federal Reserve will come out with its policy decision on Thursday. We have auto sales numbers for the month of April on May 1. PMI data will come out on May 2, and a bunch of earnings from large caps including Adani Power, Ports, Enterprises, Coal India, Britannia, Titan, to name a few. So what will you be focusing on in this event heavy week?
Well, definitely earnings, because that is where I get conviction in terms of improvement and corporate India's meter in terms of performance. Bond yield in US and Fed meet and all that is something that I don't give much relevance or weightage to. I believe it's a passing shower for me. Election second phase done and dusted. We'll have the third phase possibly next week or the week after. And of course, the de-escalation in terms of the situation in Middle East and a slight bit of cool off in crude oil prices. But weightage I will give to earnings. Whatever we've seen up till now, Suyash, I don't think we need to complain. That's the positive part. And the wishful thinking is that the rest of the corporates which will announce their Q4 earnings last financial year should possibly be in line. But my worry is that I am witnessing a little bit of fatigue in the market as far as the screen is concerned, Suyash. And historically, month of May has been notorious in terms of upside getting capped. And unfortunately or fortunately, we are trading at near all-time highs. We are approaching the month of May. And we also have the earnings and the elections undergoing. It's going to be quite tricky, not only this week, since it is truncated like you mentioned, but for the entire month of May, I think we could be a little bit choppy and volatile.
All right, the focus will be on earnings. And, speaking on earnings, Gaurang, so far the market seems to be rewarding strong commentary despite, some bit of weakness in performance, as was indicated in the case of Tech Mahindra. However, companies that make even slightly negative commentary on guidance front are getting hammered regardless of their market capitalization. Bajaj Finance turned out to be a case in point on Friday. I mean, at a time like this, how can investors who are betting on a company for the long term avoid such short-term corrections? Do you recommend they hedge their position? Because that can be difficult for retail investors, right? Considering the costs associated with it and the complexities. Or should they, perhaps book their profits and, come back when the outlook has improved, or do nothing and sit on the sidelines, sir?
So, there is a good old saying in Hindi. There are benefits when you change yourself into Gandhiji's Teen Bandar. Hear no evil, say no evil, speak no evil. So you need to be deaf, you need to be blind, and you need to be without any speech. Short-term jerks in the market on earnings front or any specific news flow, whether positive or negative, will give the kind of reaction on that particular counter, depending upon which way the news flow is. But since you mentioned a specific name, Bajaj Finance, let me say this. We have a positive coverage over there. 8,600 is the target, which is quite healthy from the current levels where Bajaj Finance is trading at. And even for otherwise, for earnings that we have not witnessed, Suyash, let me say this, that if the momentum is good, if the future is bright, if the management commentary in terms of taking their business to the next level and improving the earnings is concerned, I don't think you need to give too much of attention to the short-term unnecessary noises that are there on the street. You need to have confidence in your investment, and you need to keep yourself updated in terms of the future growth.
All right, and keeping it with earnings, we have a big one today. India's largest cement maker, Ultratech, will report its numbers today. And Amit, I'll come to you first. It looks like the street is expecting a good quarter from them. The stock is up 1.5% this morning.
A good quarter from them. The stock is up 1.5% this morning. But the cement sector has been a slow starter this last quarter. There's been a harsh winter in the north. There have been festivities in the south. The east has been struggling with fiscal challenges. But cement prices were under pressure in the quarter gone by. There were rollback in prices that had been increased in the months of September, October of 2023. Coming to Ultratech Cement, analysts and the market expect a revenue growth of over 10%, net profits up, expected to grow by over 20%. Gaurang, good morning Gaurang. I'll come to you now. Ultratech Cement, while it has the maximum market capitalization in the cement sector, it is, as far as the yearly earnings go, it is behind Ambuja, JK and ACC. One, what do you make of the cement sector? Is it expected to rally post-elections with infrastructure projects and everything, and Ultratech Cement? Where do you see it going from here?
Morning to you as well, Amit. So we have almost about more than half a dozen coverage in the cement universe, starting with large cap and mid cap both. Your question on the last, whether the cement consumption will go on fallback of post-election government getting formed, I think it's going to pick up quite smartly. And not only government spending, Amit, I think real estate sector is the second largest consumer of cement, whatever is produced in India. Along with that, you have the private capex. Along with that, topmost priority, of course, you have government spending in terms of Bharat Nirman or infrastructure creation. Cement bag prices are likely to move up north slowly and steadily. Coming out of the third quarter backdrop in terms of harsh winter and not to forget the input cost, I think all that has now become a thing of the past. We have coverage on Ultratech, we have coverage on Ambuja, we have coverage on Grasim. Other than that, we have coverage on Dalmia Bharat, which is under review, big post numbers, but JK Lakshmi Cement, Ramco Cement, Birla Corp, India Cement, these are some of the other names where we have coverage on. And my sense is that if you have to create infrastructure, then you can't do it without two commodities. One is cement, of course, and the other one is ferrous and non-ferrous metals. So you need to keep your eyes on both.
All right, cement, the view is bullish. Ultratech, Ambuja are on the radar of Gaurang Shah. But, Gaurang, hold that thought. We'll come back to you in just a while. Time for a quick break.
Forty countries, 1,000 multilingual bookstalls, 1.25 lakh people, one destination, the New Delhi World Book Fair 2024.
So it's a great honour to be here. Thank you to the National Book Trust and those that have embraced us over recent days.
I was at the London Book Fair once and I had not participated here, but this fair is an ocean and it's beautiful.
This should be your annual spring picnic.
Through the power of knowledge, we are going to create responsible citizens, global citizens with global skills and also global responsibility.
This and more. Streaming on News9 plus news is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
20,000 people dead and counting. What's happening in the United States of America is unprecedented. You will have to pay for this.
Alright, welcome back. You're watching First Stick here on News9, and the markets, they have bounced back from the day's low, but we are still hovering below 22,500 on Nifty. Nifty is currently up about 0.3%. The mid cap and the small cap indices, they are trading flattish. The mid cap index has actually moved towards its day's low, is down 0.15% as we speak, but still holding above 50,500 levels. The small cap index has paired gains. It's essentially flat. as of 10 a.m. this morning, and has fallen below 17,000 mark. But as I mentioned, Nifty Bank, I think that would be the key one, because a lot of companies, a lot of banks reported their Q4 numbers over the weekend, so the market is reacting to that. And even though the recovery, the markets, they have paired some of their early morning gains, it's Nifty Bank that's actually moving higher. Nifty Bank, as we speak, has actually taken out 48,500 mark and 48,600, from where during today's trade it had reverse course and fallen about 150 points. I think that remains a key resistance. Even Avni pointed that out. If we can break that hurdle, perhaps a move towards all-time high levels, which is at 49.57, could come into play. But Gaurang, I'll come back to you. Wanted to get your view on gold, because gold prices, they have fallen by about 4% from their record highs, and they are currently at the weekly low. It seems that no news of escalation of tension between Iran and Israel is being perceived as good news, but still there are plenty of uncertainties. One, the world is still facing two wars. We have escalation. We also have elections here in India, and then in the US later this year. China's economy also seems a little iffy, considering the recent economic data that has come out. Considering all these factors, Gaurang, would you still bet on gold, or do you think for now at least the yellow metal has topped out?
When in the last 3-6 months, if gold has rallied anywhere between 16 to 20%, if in 1 week it corrects 2.5 to 3%, I don't think there is enough reason for you to cry and complain. Gold has been a commodity as an asset class which does not entirely ape what the equity market does. I have been, other than equities, Suyash, I think we discussed last time, I've been one precious commodity that I was interested in way back in 2007 along with equities, gold. That's when the price were about 7,000 to 8,000 rupees for 10 grams, which today is beyond 70,000. As a fundamental analyst and as a principle of investment, we have always said that you should diversify your investment. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Gold, equity market, bank FD, PPF, government debt market, security, mutual fund. These are some 4-5 avenues where a common Indian person can invest. Land is a big ticket, so that depends upon an individual's appetite and understanding of the geography. But as a thumb rule, we have said that if you have 100 rupees to invest, then out of that 100 rupees, at least 10 to 20% should be allocated towards gold asset class. That can be in form of gold sovereign bonds, gold ETFs, or physical gold, whichever you have liking towards. But at least have that. The fact of the matter, other than the points that you pointed out, Suyash, what we are missing out is that gold is a natural commodity. And the natural reserves across the globe are dilapidating or going down at an alarming rate because of the indiscriminate mining of gold and the demand for gold. Other than that, central banks have been buying left, right and center because they have printed currencies left, right and center. Hedge funds had actually got into gold, and that's primarily the reason why over the last month and a half, you saw the rally that we've witnessed. And those funds have now started to book profits, and that's the reason you've seen 2.5-3% correction. Don't look at short term, medium term, look at long term. And like I said, as a principle of investment, you should have diversified asset classes.
Good morning, Gaurang. Now, another thing that has happened this week is that the yen, for the first time since 1990, has slipped past 160 to a dollar, 160.17. And what has raised eyebrows is that the Japanese authorities do not appear to be stepping in to stem the fall. Strengthening dollar or just a weakening yen, and what are the repercussions you see for India and Indian trade?
I don't see any, Amit. This can be a short to medium term concern. I mean, who would have imagined that from negative interest rates, Japan would turn into, status quo, minor positive interest rates. So it's a question of short term, medium term. Flows are going to come to India, come what may. Tell me one geography in the emerging market map where you have the kind of run rate where India has rising GDP, lower interest rates, possibly, and of course, inflation coming down, corporate India's earnings improving, retail participation improving with conviction from a long-term point of view. And along with that, you have a steady government possibly in place post the 4th of June. So, this can have a short-term to medium-term impact. I will not read too much into it.
It can have a short to medium term impact, but Gaurang, to your point, FII flows, they have been rather choppy and volatile. I mean, look at April month to date, they have sold off equities worth 37,000 crores, but that has been more than offset by our domestic institutional investors. They have bought equities worth 42,000 crores, so speaks about the inherent strength and confidence of the on Indian markets. But on that note, we'll let you go, sir. Again, thank you for your time and your insights.
Thank you.
But before we wrap things up, let's just quickly, look at the markets, because we are seeing somewhat of recovery again from the day's low, and Nifty is trying to move past 22,500, and time and again we have insisted on this show that 22,500 is key. I think it is key for a couple of reasons. One, that it was the first record high that we hit in calendar 24. So from time and again also we reversed course from 22,500, 520 odd mark. So I think it will be the market for it to move higher from here on. I think 22,500 needs to be taken out. And remember, even last time when we made that dash to 22,775, Nifty was able to break past 22,500 with conviction, and even on that day itself we made a new record high. So I think 22,500 remains key. After that, 22,600 is something that we need to take out, because in the last couple of sessions 22,620 odd levels has offered some bit of resistance. So that will also be a level of resistance for us to take out. Beyond that, perhaps we take out the record level and move towards 23,000. But again, as I pointed out on a couple of times on this show, that Nifty Bank will play a pivotal role. The index is actually leading from the front. It's up 0.73% as we speak, and the large cohort of private banks, they are participating in the upside. ICICI Bank, Axis, Indices, Kotak, they alone are responsible for about half of Nifty's gains this morning. So can Bank Nifty continue to do well and perhaps move towards its all-time high levels? Because again, as we know, Bank Nifty has a big weightage on Nifty. So a rally in Bank Nifty could perhaps take Nifty to record highs as well. But again, all these questions will be answered in time. But remember, it is going to be a choppy week, because it's a event heavy week and it's a truncated week. But that's enough for this show. We'll see you at 4 p.m. on Last Check. But coming up next is World Business Report.
India produces between 1,500 and 2,000 films every year, the highest for any country. But they get ignored at international awards.